During the Kangxi reign of the Qing dynasty, there was a man named Mark who worked in the local government office. His main duty was to deliver official documents to government offices in other regions, much like a courier today. Though young and strong, Mark suffered from a strange, persistent illness that struck him once every year. When it flared up, he experienced excruciating abdominal pain so intense it felt worse than death. He would become completely immobilized, finding only slight relief when lying flat on the ground. Each attack tormented him for several hours. He had consulted many doctors and taken numerous medicines for this bizarre ailment, but with little effect. The illness still struck on schedule, and once the episode passed, he felt completely normal again. No one knew the cause. Eventually, Mark gave up on seeking a cure. He reasoned that the illness didn't greatly impact his life, occurring only once a year, so he decided to let it be. One day, Mark received an urgent mission to deliver an important document to a distant location. He immediately set off on horseback without delay. As dusk fell, he entered a deep, secluded valley. Suddenly, he shuddered, and a sharp pain erupted in his abdomen. Beads of sweat rolled down his forehead. Unfortunately, his old affliction had chosen this very moment to return. He had to struggle to get off his horse and lie flat on the roadside. He lay there for over 2 hours. By the time the pain subsided, it was already completely dark. Looking around at the darkness, Mark grew anxious. He should have reached the post station by now, but the illness had delayed him. Traveling at night was dangerous, risking attacks by wild beasts. He had no choice but to press on, hoping to find a household where he could seek lodging. Yet, in this desolate place, far from any village or inn, the chances seemed slim. After walking for over half an hour, he spotted a faint glimmer of light ahead. Mark's heart leapt with joy. Someone actually lived here. He spurred his horse towards the light and found a large mansion. Upon approaching, a pair of lanterns hung at the gate, and the yard was filled with laughter and cheer. Mark knocked softly. Soon, a white-bearded old man opened the door. He looked surprised to see Mark and asked whom he was seeking. Mark quickly greeted him with a bow, explained his situation, and requested to stay for the night. Mark quickly greeted him with a bow, explained his situation, and requested to stay for the night. The old man welcomed him warmly and heartily inside. In the courtyard, Mark saw a banquet table laden with food and wine. 4 elderly men sat around it, toasting each other. The old man smiled and said, "These are my old friends. We're gathering together for the Mid-Autumn Festival." Then he introduced Mark to the others, who were all friendly and invited him to join them for a drink. Unable to refuse, Mark sat down. The old man told him to eat something first. Having traveled all day, Mark was ravenous. He thanked his host and began eating heartily. Strangely, though the dishes looked exquisitely prepared, they tasted utterly bland and flavorless in his mouth, like chewing wax. Not a single dish was warm, which puzzled him greatly. After a few bites, the people at the table began toasting frequently. When it came to Mark's turn, he felt embarrassed and declined, saying, "It's not that I don't know manners, but I'm ill and can't drink alcohol. I beg your understanding." The old man chuckled. "Your luck is good. Coming here today was exactly the right move. Drink freely, don't be afraid. Your illness can be cured. Dr. Zhao is here. He pointed at a thin, elderly man. This old man happened to be sitting next to Mark. He smiled slightly, asked Mark to extend his hand, stroked his beard, and took his pulse. After examining the pulse, the old man said, "You have a kind of worm in your belly. This worm eats one big meal and then hibernates for a whole year. That's why your strange illness strikes only once a year, isn't it?" Mark was astonished. The divine doctor's diagnosis was accurate. He became anxious upon hearing about the worm in his stomach and quickly bowed, saying, "Divine doctor, please save me." The divine doctor smiled reassuringly. "Don't be afraid. This kind of rare and complicated disease is indeed uncommon in the world. If left untreated, it could eventually endanger your life. Meeting me today, I guarantee you'll be cured." He then told Mark to sit down and drink. After a few rounds of drinks, the divine doctor asked them to wait a moment and left alone. Soon, he returned with a small, moldy, black object. He handed it to Mark and told him to swallow it whole, claiming it would cure his illness. Mark smelled it and was almost sickened by the foul stench. With no other choice, he held his breath and swallowed the object in one go. They urged him to drink more. After 2 cups, he felt nauseous and vomited on the spot. Among the vomit was a black worm over half a foot long, wriggling on the ground. The divine doctor stepped on it and crushed it. Mark knelt down to thank him but was pulled up. The old man then arranged a room for him to rest. The next morning, Mark found himself lying in a desolate field. Despite his surprise, he didn't delay and mounted his horse to continue his journey. As he left the valley, he saw a village ahead. At the entrance, a doctor was offering free medical consultations. People in the queue said he was the apprentice of the renowned Dr. Zhao, known for his exceptional medical skills. Curious to see if this was indeed the apprentice of the Dr. Zhao he had met, Mark joined the queue. When it was his turn, the doctor asked about his illness. Mark described his symptoms. The doctor pondered and said, "I've only heard my master talk about this illness. It must be a poisonous worm in your stomach." Mark asked, "How can it be treated?" The physician replied, "According to my master, a folk remedy known to very few is to take mold grown on rotten coffin planks, swallowed with white liquor. It's said to cure this illness." Mark felt queasy again and asked, "Is your master Zhao, the divine doctor?" The doctor said, "Yes, but he passed away 5 years ago." Mark was shocked. "Where is Dr. Zhao buried?" The doctor pointed in the direction he had come from and said, "In that valley, about half an hour's ride away." Mark then realized Zhao, who had treated him, was a ghost. But he didn't feel fear. Instead, he felt warmth. On his return journey after completing his official business, Mark specially bought spirit money, wine, and food. He went back to the place where he had sought shelter. Sure enough, several graves stood there. One bore the inscription, "Tomb of Dr. Zhao." He burned spirit money and offered wine and food respectfully before each grave before slowly making his way back. From that day on, Mark's strange illness never troubled him again.